This is BluLunch, Sheridan College's own sports podcast, hosted by Jay and Drew.
It's Wednesday, February 20th. It's game day, at least for the Raptors. Memphis is coming to town. We'll look into the Raptors. We'll look into Rudy Gay, T. Ross. Maybe I should call him T. Flight 31 after the dunk contest.
That's the best Twitter handle ever.
NBA trade deadline is tomorrow. Whether Bargnani is here or somewhere else, we'll discuss. We'll look into Oscar Pistorius and that odd happening that occurred. Of course, we'll touch hockey a little bit. We're going to look, obviously, Leafs, but we're going to look at their main rivals, the Montreal Canadiens, who are first in the East. Yeah,
Yikes.
You didn't hear me wrong on that. We'll touch Ottawa Senators with Erik Karlsson and Vancouver Canucks. So it's Canadian hockey theme today. We're going to talk Jannik Hansen specifically, his hit on Marian Hossa.
We got to mention Chicago, though. Get it in.
Oh, yeah. That's where the Hossa factor comes in. And hopefully, if we have enough time, we'll wrap it off with some spring training. Pitchers and catchers reported last week.
Yes.
We're specifically going to look at the rotation, and then next week we'll look at the hitters. So Dickey, Johnson, Romero, Burley, and Brandon Morrow. But
when we get to the Raptors, which we're going to get to right now, I wanted to know, like, if you asked me if this Raptors team could pound off a five-game winning streak this season before Rudy Gay, before they got him, I would say no.
They pounded off a 4-gamer. I want to say maybe it was 5, but they did have at least a 4-gamer earlier.
What do you think is the biggest reason for their? I mean, aren't they 6-2?
Yes, 6-2 with Rudy Gay. Yes.
So what do you? I mean, you could say it has been Rudy Gay for their improved play because you have to admit they've played better. But what do you think the reason is?
5 in a row they actually did win.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
in middle of December. Dallas, Houston, Cleveland, Detroit, Orlando.
But I feel like I've watched more now because of Rudy Gay. I love him on the team. But what is the reason there's so much more optimism now?
I think you answered your own question. Fans, ever since they got Rudy Gay, the casual basketball fan like yourself has tuned in. They want to know who this Rudy Gay guy is.
It's so true.
And he's now known as that guy because of the YouTube video. He had another game-winning shot against Denver. Jay predicted that they would lose to Denver. I predicted they would win. Lucky for me that Rudy Gay is a Raptor, that he sealed that game-winning shot at the end for him. 2-game winners. And on this 5-game winning streak, well, the reason we're talking about the Raptors lead off is because we thought they deserved to be the lead topic today. 5-game winning streak, dunk contest champion, Memphis coming in tonight.
And as
NBA trade deadline, so there's a lot to talk about with the NBA.
As a casual NBA fan, I have to admit they do deserve the lead off because they've played well. 5 games. Terrence Ross. I mean, we're going to talk about that a little bit after we talk about the 5-game winning streak. But whoa. Like, there's a lot of stuff that are going on in the Raptors world right now.
As for the winning streak, they've beaten. Look at the teams they've beaten. They've beaten Denver. They've beaten Indiana.
I said they lose every
New York
game.
Knicks. So it's not like they're dominating. They are grinding out the wins against the good teams on the road. Even Washington last night. Washington might not be a very good team, but they've played well recently. And Toronto grinded out another win last night thanks to DeRozan and Gay. I don't know about you, but people thought that DeRozan and Gay weren't going to coexist with each other because of the similar talents and the way they play. And so
They're playing
far,
well together.
DeRozan's averaging 21, Gay's averaging 19 since their time here. So it's really nice to see. Memphis is in town tonight. What does that mean? It means Ed Davis is making his return. Fan favorite. Do you expect boos?
No,
I don't either.
I expect cheers.
Ed Davis wanted to be here. I think the same case would be for Calderon when he returns. I don't think they'll boo him at all.
No way.
But
Calderon was loved.
It's the guys like Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady, Chris Bosh that want out, that choose to leave, not the ones that are traded. So they got Memphis tonight. They have, the Knicks on Friday, and they have Washington on Monday. So 3 home games.
So get this. They're 5 games back of Milwaukee.
Mm-hmm.
If they win tonight and they win against the Knicks on Friday, they're what? There's 3 games back, assuming Milwaukee doesn't win a game the next.
We got the schedule here. Milwaukee's next 3 games are home to Brooklyn, then they're on the road against Dallas and Houston. So they are losable games. Milwaukee has struggled a little bit. Toronto's obviously played well lately since they got Rudy Gay. 5 games back, like you said, are they going to make a run? Are they going to make it?
Listen, hey, you know what? The cynist in me will say that the Raptors lost that chance with their 4-19 start. But, I have to say, you have to rely on Milwaukee losing. But if Milwaukee loses a couple of games and the Raptors keep playing the way they're playing, it wouldn't surprise me if you see them.
For the first time yesterday, usually I'm a guy, I look at the NHL standings. I never look at NBA. And for the first time last night, after I saw the Raptors win, I actually opened up
That's what
NBA.com, went to standings,
That's
and
what
said,
I
okay,
did.
who does Milwaukee have? Okay, this could get entertaining down the stretch. And the city of Toronto needs that.
What a story that this season would turn out to be if the Raptors somehow manage to squeak into the playoffs.
That'd be great. And it's a shame if they miss out by a game or two, because they've had 3 games where there should have been a foul call at the end.
Oh, yeah.
The
Referees.
DeRozan one against Atlanta stands out to me. There was the Bargnani one against Charlotte. And then there's been so many close games. The double overtime against San Antonio. Kyrie Irving with a game-winning shot against Toronto 2 weeks ago. So I
feel like you'd be impressed, though, even if they missed out on a couple of games. I would be impressed.
Yeah, no.
4-19 start.
I know.
Whoa, if the Leafs start like that.
But if they miss out by a game or two on the playoffs, I'll look back at that. Quickly, though, if they do get 8th, they will face Miami. Is that a good thing? Would you rather miss the playoffs, or do you want to see the Raps in there face Miami?
I think they can take Miami.
I
I don't
so
know if
too.
they can win the series, but I think they can take Miami to the brink.
I think they could give them a good run.
You said, I don't know if did you say on the show, you say it to me personally, but you said that they can match Miami athletically.
That's what Eric Spoelstra said, the coach for Miami.
And if they can do that, they can provide a challenge to Miami, and that's what you need.
Look at LeBron James and Dwayne Wade. Like, those are your shooting guard and your small forward. And there's not a lot of teams that have the talent athletically to match up against them. And you bring in Rudy Gay all of a sudden, and now you do. And it's no offense to Landry Fields. Landry Fields he's a decent player, but he's not Rudy Gay. And if you put Rudy Gay and DeMar DeRozan up on those two, yeah. So I would like to see a first-round matchup against the Heat. I'd love to see Bosch come into town. The fans boo. Playoff basketball in Toronto can be intense. I was at the series last time they made it against Orlando, and you could hear them booing Dwight Howard from outside. That's how loud it was. Anything before we go to T. Ross?
Well, I just wanted to say that I can't stress enough that, like what you had previously said a couple minutes ago, how important it would be for the GTA. How many teams, Leafs, Blue Jays, I know you have the Toronto Rock, but I mean, who cares?
I just thought of this now. Could you imagine if the Raptors squeak in? The Leafs hold the fort where they are, and the Blue Jays do what they're supposed to do.
Don't get me excited now.
We'll check back in a month or two.
Because I'll tell you, this is a hypothetical situation, but you're asking me. So I'm going to give you a quick answer now. If the Leafs hold steady, they're in 6th right now in the East. If they hold steady, and the Blue Jays have, an amazing start to the season. They do what they're supposed to do.
And
they do what they're supposed to do, and they win games, and then the Raptors squeak into the
keep
playoffs.
Winning, yeah.
Let's put this in order then. Raptors squeak into the playoffs. Leafs make the playoffs. When have we ever heard that? And the Blue Jays in September playing meaningful baseball?
Yeah. We're a long way. It's still a long way to go,
Listen,
but I just thought I'd throw the
happen.
idea out
A lot of stuff can happen. But you know what? Sports in the GTA, in the Greater Toronto Area, is looking better these days. Let's go to Terrence Ross. Listen, I didn't watch it, but because I was busy. But listen, I saw the highlights on YouTube and on TSN, Sportsnet.
I like how you complimented both companies. there.
You have to, right? You gotta love the Canadian sports channels and the sports networks. I watched the highlights of the slam dunk contest, and Terrence Ross, phenomenal, just phenomenal.
Unbelievable. What was your favorite dunk?
Oh, a lot of people are gonna kind of question the Vince Carter tribute dunk. I loved it.
I loved it too. Like you said, a lot of people didn't like it. They questioned it. They said it's too soon. Vince Carter, they almost say Vince Carter, they don't want to affiliate Vince Carter with the Raptors with how he left. But time has passed. Vince Carter put Toronto on the map. I absolutely love the dunk. I think it was great. And capping it off by dunking over the child, that was unreal.
Did he even know that child? Or just pull him out of the crowd?
I'm not sure. But the one thing that I do want to stress for Terrence Ross is just because you won the dunk contest doesn't mean you're an all-star. Doesn't mean that you're going to turn out. He's still got to put in work. He's got a good jump shot. He's got to bulk up a little bit, take the ball to the rim. Obviously, he can dunk viciously, which we see in games. He's a good player, though. He's a good player, plays good defense. As long as he keeps doing what he's doing and progressing as a young man, he'll be fine. I know as a Toronto Raptors fan, I was very proud to see Terrence Ross win. I think the whole country was behind him.
For sure.
When
was the last time you saw a Toronto Raptor win besides Vince Carter?
Exactly.
DeRozan and when was Vince Carter won,
it went. Yeah,
it was crazy. It was a national and international thing.
Obviously, Terrence Ross, it's not as big as when Vince Carter won, but I think it's still a big deal. For minor news too, the Raptors are bidding for the 2016 All-Star Game.
I can't wait.
Yeah, so we might see.
So are the Leafs. The Leafs
really?
are bidding not for 2016, but remember when Brian Burke had sent out that it was like a kit for them to get the All-Star Game to get the draft. I don't know if that went through, but I'm fairly certain when it comes to All-Star games, with the Raptors in 2016, if they get it, I think they will. And then the Leafs potentially in 2017, which is their 100th year anniversary. I'm very excited for it.
They should get it then.
They should get it, right? I mean, didn't
Montreal
got the draft?
Yeah.
Did they get the All-Star?
They got the All-Star Game, yeah.
Wouldn't that be amazing if the Raptors get the All-Star Game in 2016 and a year later we have an NHL All-Star Game? I just think the excitement would be crazy for 2 years straight for sports in Toronto.
Did you watch the game last night?
The Leafs
the
game?
Raptors.
Okay.
I was flipping back and forth.
No. Well, actually, I was watching the Leafs game. I didn't watch the Raptors game, but then I turned off the Leafs game. So, anyways, we'll get to that after. But no, I didn't.
I don't know if you read or you saw, but Matt Devlin and Leo Routins usually do the Raptors broadcasts.
I heard about this, but go ahead.
And a local rapper, he actually has 2 million followers on Twitter, I looked. His name's Wale.
What is going on here?
I think it's spelt Wally, but it's pronounced Wale. And Rudy Gay made a basket, and they were kind of taunting each other. And Matt Devlin said how, who is this guy? This guy,
who is he?
Exactly, that's what I said. And then he goes, oh, this guy can't be better than Drake. Or no, he said some people were tweeting to him that he's better than Drake. And Matt Devlin said, oh, there's no way he's better than Drake. And this Wale rapper tweeted to Matt Devlin to watch his mouth, quote, watch your mouth, and then actually went up to the broadcast booth and started heckling Matt Devlin or, ripping him apart. And when it became a commercial broadcast, Devlin actually went and talked to him, took him aside. I guess they got everything cleared out. But, are you kidding me? Get
a life. That's
what you're a rapper. There's going to be haters, and you're going after a play-by-play guy from the Toronto Raptors.
You're going after an NBA commentator. That's pathetic.
Because he said Drake is better than you.
It's ridiculous.
Drake's got 10 million followers, and this Wale has 2. So
if this guy Wale, I'm going to call him Wally from now on. But if Wally,
be careful, he might find you.
If Wally thinks that he's better than Drake, or if he takes listen, if I was a singer Like, Drake is on top of his game. We're getting into music now. I know we are. But I'm just saying, why would you get so bent out of shape over an NBA commentator who it's not even his job to critique music? And,
If you have Twitter and you have 2 million followers, I'm pretty sure people are going to send you hate tweets. How you suck, get off the stage, whatever. And are you going to reply to every single one of them?
Yeah.
And the fact that Matt Devlin said it on TV, I'm sure people were saying, hey, the Raptors announcers talking crap about you. And
did you see him? You see him on the phone? He was on the phone.
Yeah.
So someone obviously told him that he said that.
Yeah.
And like who? Like why?
Rudy Gay came out after the game, said that they're friends and that they were just joking. But that was a very odd event last night.
So my question. I mean, a smart person would ask this question. Not saying I'm smart, but if he's friends with Rudy Gay, why would you go up to the booth and confront the commentator for the Toronto Raptors?
Must be emotional rapper. That's all I gotta say.
Well, seriously, like, come on. You can't like, you're making an impression on behalf of Rudy Gay. So think, like, if your friend kind of went to your job to watch you do whatever you do, and then goes up to, whatever, your boss or something, and then starts, bitching him out. Sorry, does that look good on you? No, it doesn't.
It's going to make the other guy upset. It's going to make
Exactly.
the other guy want to do better.
This is essentially what happened last night, And, just because I didn't watch the game, it doesn't matter if you didn't watch the game, because you know what? It explodes after, because you find out all the details on Twitter, we watched a video on YouTube before the show. Like, it's ridiculous.
You can't make this stuff up.
Only the Raptors, only in Toronto can we find this stuff. Like, never mind, the Lakers suck.
Now,
did I say that out loud? I'm sorry.
We'll be talking Lakers because we're gonna shift to NBA trade deadline.
Oh,
it's tomorrow, Thursday.
I can't wait.
We went through the whole Raptors without mentioning Andrea Bargnani.
Okay, now that you mentioned
we mentioned DeRozan, Gay. We even mentioned Matt Devlin.
You know what?
The announcer, but we did not mention Andrea Bargnani.
Trade deadline tomorrow. Bargnani, I don't think he's getting traded.
You think he's staying?
Oh, I think he's staying.
I think he's staying too.
You know why I think he's staying?
Do tell.
Colangelo came out a couple days ago and he said that his future with the team could be long term.
Really?
I heard. Yeah.
He
said that. Apparently he said that when he was being grilled by the media, and
these NBA insiders have said that there's no market right now for Andrea Bargnani, and there isn't. He sat out a couple games with the flu. He's made a couple baskets, and he hasn't done much. He's a 7-footer, comes off the bench, second unit.
He's a 7-foot lamb. He's a lamb. You know why? Because he sat down with the flu. Actually, you know what? They probably told him. I'm sorry. I know I'm getting on your nerves now, but I'm just saying.
Say something.
I'm just saying. I think they sat him because, well, think about it. He's getting booed the first game he's back.
That was actually my point. I want to see Bargnani come off the bench because I don't think there's room for him in the starting unit. They got DeRozan, Gay, Kyle Lowry needs his shots too. Valanciunas is doing the dirty work, and then whoever you put up power forward, which is Amir Johnson, and Amir Johnson does the dirty work. So there's really not enough basketball to go around. Andrea Bargnani's facing second-tier talent, playing with the second unit, so he's going to face the other team's second unit, and I think he could flourish. And so if they don't move him, I'd like to see them keep him on the bench. And so you say no, he doesn't get moved?
I don't think he does.
Me neither.
After the comments I heard. But, I mean, obviously my trade deadline happiness day was shattered when I heard that. But I've been waiting for a trade deadline for, like, pretty much since we started this show. Because trade deadline, in my mind...
Just a fun day.
It's the best day, in my opinion, in sports. Because in hockey especially. The last couple of years, it hasn't been that great for hockey. But trade deadlines are usually the best. Free agency is another example of something that is really exciting and something you really want to talk about. So I'm going to delve right into trade deadline right now because, again, by our next show, we're already going to have the trade. So this is what I think is going to happen. I know we're going to talk about Lakers. Do you think? I mean, who is going to be traded from the Lakers?
It's funny
Is there
because
anyone who's
I don't
gonna be
think the
traded?
Lakers are going to move anybody. Everybody's talking about Dwight Howard
know,
getting
Dwight
traded,
Howard.
and that maybe it's best for the Lakers to move him. Bum shoulder, not really competing that hard, saving himself for free agency. I don't. General manager came out today, said they're not moving Dwight Howard.
Good for them. Keep him. He's bad for the. I mean, he's good for the team. But
Boston's got Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce. They've lost Rajon Rondo for the year. Leandro Barbosa is gone too, the backup point guard. Boston, I don't know. I don't think
Garnett's
Boston
not going anywhere.
I don't think
because-
Boston's going to hold up with running Pierce and Garnett out there 35 minutes a game. They're both getting older. Paul Pierce said he does not want to rebuild, so that's not an option.
So then what do you suggest then?
I think they're going to ride it out and hopefully sneak into the playoffs and get blown out by Miami or not Detroit. What am I
That's the
thinking?
ideal
Chicago.
situation, right?
Josh Smith, Atlanta. He's a name people are talking about. A lot of people are saying he'd look good in San Antonio. He'd fit there.
What insiders are talking about players that maybe the Raptors would be interested in?
Well, the biggest name's been Carlos Boozer for Bargnani, but
Listen, that would be the best Raptors jersey ever.
if they're shipping anybody out,
Boozer.
if they're shipping anybody out, I can't tell you who they would get. If they're shipping anyone out, it would be Barks or it would be maybe Landry Fields. I doubt anyone would want the contract though. And if they're bringing anybody in, I can't give you a name. They've tossed around point guards like Luke Ridenour, but if they're going to bring anybody in, it's going to be to give John Lucas some help at the second point.
If you're the Raptors, are you trying to get a first-round pick?
I mean,
is there someone on the team you can trade for a first-round pick?
Basketball's different with
No,
hockey.
I know. It's more like wishy-washy with first-rounders. But
if you watch the NBA draft, you'll notice a team will have the 10th overall pick, and they will sell the pick for money. You don't see that in hockey. They will literally sell. It was Iguodala? I think it was Iguodala the one year. Like, Phoenix had the pick, and they sold it to Philadelphia. Don't quote me on that, but you can literally buy yourself a pick for a couple $1 million.
yeah, I mean that's why I'm saying, like, do they even bother? I mean, look at their position. Are they good enough now that if they don't get into the playoffs, no one's gonna care if they're giving up like a 14th
If they don't have
pick,
a first round pick,
13th pick?
If they don't have a first round pick, it's not a big deal because they have Rudy Gay. They want to see what they can do with the core for a full year. They want to see Gay, DeRozan, and Lowry.
Oh, I've said this before. I think a full year is going to be amazing.
Yeah,
with this team.
I hate to look forward to next year, but
Is
yeah, it will
Bargnani
be interesting.
part of it though? Which is interesting because, like, again, the comment saying that his future could be long term. How? Why? Why would you do that?
He might be with the team next year, but again, I think it would be off the bench.
Wouldn't you? Okay, fine. If he's going to stay with the team, wouldn't you play him as much as you can, and then try to trade him at the trade deadline
probably
next year?
You could probably trade him in the offseason
Maybe that's
at
what-
the draft, right?
Maybe
Maybe they get a first round pick in the teens or the 20s.
Is it worth it though?
Maybe
Bargnani's
if you get
worth
11,
like a bag of balls,
if you get $11
maybe.
million off the books, you get out of the luxury tax. It gives you flexibility somewhere else. Yeah, it could make sense.
Yeah, it's true. I say we trade for Steve Nash. That's just
Moving from Andrea Bargnani in Italy to Oscar Pistorius and South Africa.
South Africa, yeah. Listen, when he was in the Olympics, I watched every race that he was in. For me, it was inspirational, and he looked really powerful. You know, I don't know if it was because they called him the Blade Runner, and
he didn't medal, but
no, he didn't medal. But you know what? What was it, the 400-meter relay or something like that? He was the last racer in that. The other racers were slower than him, every single one of them. So no wonder he didn't medal. No, seriously, he had potential to medal at least a bronze in that race. And, you know, in my opinion, his teammates were slower than he was. I was inspired. A lot of people were. And then the news comes out that you know, they found his girlfriend dead in his house. And then the police department comes in. And
do you buy the story?
That he shot her because he thought that she was
an intruder.
A burglar.
Yeah. Do you buy it? I don't buy it.
I didn't buy it the first time I heard it, but now that I'm hearing that there's been discrepancies in the investigation, Ugh, I don't know now. I think
It's-
maybe he's telling the truth, but again, there's questions like how do you mistake someone, like say it's in the middle of the night, say it's like 1 a.m., right? And you're sleeping in your bed and you hear something, right? Now let's assume that his girlfriend doesn't live with him. Because if she lived with him, this would be a closed case, closed and shut case, open shut case. Um, she has a key, obviously. She has to have a key. If she doesn't, then I don't know what she's doing sneaking into his house. But, anyways, is it possible? Yes. It's possible that he shot her thinking she was an intruder. But where was she?
This is one of those cases. I mean, when you see athletes on TV and they do so well, whether they, in this case, they make the Olympics with no legs, or you could look at Kobe Bryant back almost 10 years ago when he cheated on his wife. You don't look at Kobe Bryant as cheating on his wife. You look at Kobe Bryant as a great basketball player who's won multiple championships. But you do not know, and you might think that these athletes are heroes, that they're inspirational, that you want to tell your kids, be like them. But then you don't know their personal lives. You don't know how they are. Apparently, Pistorius has all these guns. Yeah, so you
Two words for you. Tiger Woods.
Exactly. Tiger Woods. Like, you don't know. You can tell them, be like him. Go out, do your best, win, whatever. Be like Tiger Woods. He's the model.
This is different.
Role model.
Though. Let's not bury other athletes here. We're talking about a murder case here.
I know. I'm just
But
saying, though.
I understand what you're saying.
But, like, we think he's a hero and he's inspirational, and then this happens. And we don't know whether he's at fault or not. We don't know whether he did it on purpose.
Can you imagine? I don't know if it's going to be like a full sentence, but can you imagine after the Olympics were like 6 months ago?
Yeah.
Can you imagine if he gets charged, like the highest penalty you can get?
Well, he's
life
charged.
imprisonment?
He's charged for
premeditated murder.
Yeah.
But now, apparently things are going well because of the discrepancies.
The police didn't.
which we found out about this morning, and now maybe things are looking good for him, if you can call it good. His girlfriend is dead. I can't imagine that you could feel really good about yourself, assuming what he's saying is the truth. If I shoot my girlfriend because I mistake her for an intruder, I am devastated.
His story is that he was in bed and that he heard somebody in the washroom and he thought it was an intruder.
Now, listen, you can't make this stuff up,
and
okay?
he shot through the door with a gun and couldn't open the door, so got his baseball bat and broke down the door. And he put on his prosthetic legs before all this. So it just doesn't add up to me.
Andrew, think of it this way, okay? And I'm not disagreeing with you.
No.
I'm just saying that I find it weird that this is his story, and you could say, like, yeah, there's holes in his story, but the story is so dumb, it's probably true. Like, who would say that as their defense? As their defense
she
in a
died
case?
in his arms, and now they're coming out with that. No, there was 2 iPhones in the house, and they weren't used, and the police are admitting that there's been blunders in their investigation. So who knows?
Do we know what kind of blunders? Like, are they explaining that in the news?
No,
now?
not really.
It's not out yet.
No.
I'll probably find out in a couple days, anyways.
Probably in a couple hours, maybe.
But
all it says is that he looked more calm and composed than at any point at all, which is today, and that his brother smiled over at him during the court, that things were starting to turn his way. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens.
Why? I can't imagine you'd smile if it was an accident. I would never smile.
Very interesting case.
This is so bizarre.
Yeah.
Like, it's bizarre in the fact that he was like one of the faces of the London Olympics.
You're absolutely right.
And now it's tarnished, and every time you think of Oscar Pistorius from now on, it's like Tiger Woods. Every time you think of it, you're going to think of what he did wrong.
Yes, exactly.
Instead of what he accomplished.
He'll never get his reputation back prior to this incident, even if he's found innocent.
Yeah, if he's found innocent, I mean,
people forget about it. Like, people forget about, Kobe Bryant, he committed adultery. There's a big news conference. There's athletes, they do it.
Danny Heatley.
Yeah, exactly. You don't even think about that anymore.
Danny Heatley killed his best friend's teammate. And
Dan Snyder, yeah.
And you know what? How many people have forgotten about that? You never think about that.
I personally completely forgot about that. When I think of Danny Heatley, I think, Minnesota Wild winger on the decline.
When I think of Danny Heatley, I think of a horrible human being, not because of what he did, but because he apparently, from what people say about him, he is a, I don't want to. He's a dick. That's what they call him. When you meet him,
some athletes are.
He doesn't give you the time of day. He's sarcastic. He has an attitude all the time. He's rude to people. That's Danny Heatley. And whatever people think about Oscar Pistorius, whatever inclinations they had about him in the past, if they've ever met him, if they have never met him, like people watching the London Olympics, obviously they've never met him. They're just watching him. They're thinking, oh my God, this guy is so courageous, blah, blah, blah. So they have an impression about him. Where's that impression now?
It's gone. It's out the window.
There's nothing.
I just hope from this, parents don't judge athletes by what they do on the court, rather by what they do off of it.
Okay, so this is paining me,
mm-hmm.
but I'm going to say it, that I'm actually impressed with Montreal Canadiens.
Okay.
I'm stuttering now because I can't believe I'm going to say this, but, they are the best in the East.
They are the beasts of the East.
Now, let's throw some caution here into this whole argument, into this whole discussion. Yes, they're first in the East, but Boston, who's also in our division, has played 3 fewer games.
Yep.
Okay, 3 fewer games. You could say the same about Toronto. Toronto, at least going into last night's game, was tied with Boston. Are you going to tell me that you don't think Boston in the next 3 games, assuming they'll win,
get a point?
Exactly, they're going to get a point. So let's not, again.
Let's see where we are when they've played the same amount of games.
You always say that. Let's see in a month. With this short season, it's easy to get lost 3-4 weeks into the season and say, "Oh my God, Montreal is in first, Toronto's 6th."
Now, Montreal's 11-4-1.
It's impressive.
Very impressive.
Very impressive.
Their last loss
record
was when Toronto blew them out of the water at the Bell Center. Now,
and their last loss before that was when they lost the first game.
Do you think Montreal is for real?
I don't know if they're for real. I think they have the goaltending. Budaj has been insane for them.
I'm laughing because it's true.
Peter Budaj's
played good, and Carey Price went in last night and won. So,
but Carey Price is an all-star goalie. He's amazing. Carey Price, in my opinion, is the best goalie in Canada. For Canadian team. I know Roberto Luongo. People say Roberto Luongo's good. I think he's the best. If I had
to pick a starter for the Olympics next year,
he's younger, and to me he's the most talented. And I think he should be. I know Luongo. People are going to push for Luongo because he has more experience, if that's what you want to say. I don't know.
Well, there's other names too. There's Cam Ward, Marc-Andre Fleury.
You cannot tell me that Cam Ward, as compared to Carey Price, has had a more, successful.
Cam Ward's won the Stanley Cup.
couple years. In the last couple of years,
okay.
Like if you're going to base
no, I know what you're saying.
Base the decision, goaltending decision. Like, do we pick Carey Price? Well, how has he done? In the last, Carey Price is, in my opinion, has played well pretty much every year.
I think he's got to be top 3 for best goalies. I think goalies.
Cam Ward does have the hardware, but that was a long time ago.
No, you're right.
Cam Ward has played awful this season.
He's still a young guy too.
Yeah, exactly.
Now Montreal, first in the East, and they're doing it without. Do you remember?
They have Markov.
Do you remember the 3 guys that were consistent for them last year? It was the forward line.
It was, let me just think. Wasn't it Pacioretty?
Yeah. Desharnais, Pacioretty, and Cole. They were the go-to line last year. The only guys that were doing anything. They had very good chemistry.
Cole's gone.
Eric Cole has 2 goals and 2 assists.
Yeah,
Max Pacioretty just He got a goal last night, but he just scored his first goal
Finally.
in the previous game, and David Desharnais has 6 points on the year. So that trio has not done anything.
Who has been the catalyst? Who's been the best player?
It's been Galchenyuk. It's been Gallagher. It's Andrei Markov's healthy.
Markov's been amazing.
He's played very well. Plekanec has played well too. Gianta's chipped in a little bit too.
Subban's played all right.
Yeah, he's been all right. And then the goaltending. So Montreal 11-4-1. Are they for real? I'm not going to say that.
I don't know if they're
I'm not
for
going to say
real.
they finish first. I don't think they'll finish first.
If they keep playing like this, they could finish 4th, 3rd. I say that because you're going to have Boston finishing either 1st, 2nd, or 3rd, and then Montreal, I think, is going to be 2nd in the division.
It's funny because they have 23 points, and the number 9 seed, the Rangers, have 17. So it's only a 6-point gap from 1 to 9. So
a couple losses, Montreal.
We do expect
same
Montreal.
With the Leafs, same with Ottawa. Same with
every team is going to go in a little slump. Montreal, when they do lose 2, 3, maybe 4 in a row, they're going to come back down into the 6-7 range, and then they're going to have to start clawing. So they won't finish first.
And staying in that division with the Erik Karlsson Achilles tendon injury, which happened last week, which, to me, it was horrific.
Before we actually look at Karlsson, do you think it was a dirty play by Matt Cook, or was it a hockey play?
Come on. Look, this shouldn't be a question.
You think he did it on purpose?
No.
Oh. I thought you.
No way.
I thought it was a yes.
I mean, Cook is a goon, and he should never have been.
He's cleaned up his game in the past couple of years. I got to give him credit for that.
I don't know about that. I mean, he's cleaned up to the game. He's cleaned up his game to the point where he hasn't hit anyone severely yet. Mm-hmm. And I say "yet" as the word.
So it was just a hockey play,
of course,
just going into the boards, and he landed on his landed on his.
They teach
Achilles.
Kids to use that same move against the boards from a young age. Press them up, move your leg up in between his legs, and use it as leverage. That's what happened. His foot came down. If you want to blame anything, blame the fact Mr. Karlsson there needs his Kevlar shin pads on there. If he had that, we're not talking about this. And Ottawa has the best defenseman in the league playing on their team now.
I look at it as if the play shouldn't have happened. The puck actually went into the netting on the other side.
Yeah, I know.
And refs didn't see it. Play continued, and the play went down the other end, and Karlsson got cut.
How many times this season, and we're not even talking about bad plays like a goal, but has a player got injured on a non-call like that?
No, you're right.
Look at what happened to James Reimer. I know he's a goalie, but it's a perfect example. Like, it was a freak accident as well, if you ask me, because it didn't look bad. But
you're always prone to tear something.
It should, if you think about it, and again, this is, if you're watching the game, Randy Carlyle, I'm sure Paul McLean, he was freaking out as well. But Randy Carlyle was freaking out as well because it should have been blown dead. What happens? Not 5 seconds early or later, his what's wrong with Reimer? His leg, strained MCL.
Yeah,
that's what it is. He strains his MCL on a play that should have been called dead. So you know what? I think the Senators, they definitely have a case against the referees. But the comments that are being made about Cook by the owner,
Eugene Melnyk.
Come on, please.
Well, you'd be mad too if you're
listen.
Maybe the best player in the world at the time.
You want to relate this in a way that really affect me? Let's say Jake Gardiner. It happened to Jake Gardiner. Mm-hmm. I would be furious because he's easily the best defenseman in the Leafs organization. I mean, this is a little different because Erik Karlsson
is an all-star
defenseman. He is the best defenseman in the league, and he's so young.
Now it was a 70% deep cut, which is really bad.
Oh God!
Just cut the Achilles.
Just stop. Why? Why would you say that?
Is he going to be the same when he comes back?
I hope so.
I hope so too. And
I don't like how good it is for the game.
I don't like Ottawa, but Erik Karlsson's a very exciting young defenseman. And I hope he comes back and plays well.
Did you know who Erik Karlsson was before last season?
I did, yes.
I can't tell you that I did. But you know what? When he won the Norris Trophy, obviously that opened some eyes.
I actually have a buddy that is an Ottawa Senators fan, and he got an Erik Karlsson jersey about 3 years ago. We went and he had a Senators jersey, plain jersey, and he wanted Carlson on the back. And we went in there, and it was Sports Obsession, and the guy at Sports Obsession goes, "What name do you want on the back?" And my buddy goes, "Carlson." And he goes, "Oh, I don't know who that is. What number is he?" Like, no, he didn't have a clue Eric Carlson was. And my buddy goes, "I think he's 65. So he goes, "Well, we'll just make sure." And he actually looked in the team roster book, and there was no Eric Carlson. It was they had a different Carlson there. That was like a left winger and like number 30 something. And my buddy said, no, he's, what number is he in real life? 55 or 56?
I'm not sure.
But my buddy goes, no, it's Carlson with 2 S's, and it's 56. So he goes, all right, if that's what you want. And so that's how I know about Eric Carlson. But yeah, no, I hope he comes back. Do you think this cripples Ottawa?
Oh, yeah.
Spets is done, or he's gone for a while.
They've won 2 games so far in a row since the loss on Saturday, right? So
they have Toronto coming into their place this Saturday.
That'll be an interesting game.
Very interesting. Spets is out. Carlson's out. Mahalik's out too. He should be back sooner than those two. Alfredson's old. Craig Anderson's really keeping them in it.
I think. Okay, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think Ottawa, they were one of the 8 teams last year. I think they'll be one of those teams to drop out of the top 8.
And doesn't it seem that with this new shortened season, it seems like you have to have a team, whichever way, built to win with injured players. That seems to be
injuries happen. They're part of the game.
Every single team is going through injuries right now. I mean, there are some more severe than others.
There's been cases though, like Tampa Bay Lightning when they won the Cup in 2005, I believe. 2004, the year before the lockout. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They had lost like something. The number was unbelievable, like 38 man games to injury, and Andre Waugh had like 31 of those games. Like they were healthy the whole year, that entire team. Whether that's coaching, giving guys days off, not working them as hard, that's still up in the air. As for last night, Marian Hossa went down, head injury.
Another one.
And ironically, it was in the same part of the ice where Rafi Torres hit him. This time it was Jannik Hansen of the Vancouver Canucks.
He's supposed to have a hearing today at 3:30.
6 minutes.
In 6 minutes from now. And do you think he gets supplemental discipline? We're going to get the answer by tomorrow and our next show. But
I would say he gets suspension, maybe 2 games.
So you hit him in the back of the head with his forearm.
Again, is it a dirty play or was it a hockey play?
You know what? I can't comment because I never saw the play. I just heard it described. And he uses his forearm
to. It's almost as I've seen it a couple times. It's almost as if he's trying to shove Hossa just like anybody would, but he gets him right in the head, and so it's tough to say.
Did he run him or was
no?
He was standing still?
They were both engaged, and Hansen basically. When you bump a guy to get off you, he kind of did that, but it went into Hossa's face, and Hossa went down and back of the head.
Again, I'd have to watch it, but the way you're describing, I don't think he gets supplemental discipline.
He's not a dirty player, but the argument can be made that Vancouver and Chicago have had run-ins in the playoffs. They don't like each other.
Oh yeah.
Jannik Hansen's been a part of that. Marian Hossa's been a part of that. Maybe they're getting revenge. They don't like each other. Maybe there's something we don't know about. It's tough to say. We'll see what Shanahan does. If Hossa's hurt long term, how bad does that hurt the Hawks? Will they still be able to go on with?
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
They'll be able to go on. I mean, they're 13-0-2 right now. They can easily make it 14 without Hossa.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not worried if I was a Hawks fan.
They'll lose a game, but
when are they going to lose a game in regulation?
I don't know.
Can you tell me that? I can't tell you that.
Calgary was 1 second away from doing that, and they couldn't hold on. Last night, not a very impressive performance from the Leafs.
No.
They are their record's still 7-3 on the road. It's impressive. I was not impressed. I was gone for the last week, so I missed the Ottawa game, the Carolina game, and the Florida game. And Ben Scrivens apparently played very well. He had 2 shutouts.
He had to play well.
He didn't look good last night. 9 saves, 13 shots, and that third goal was disgusting. And I don't know if he was screened on the fourth or his confidence was shaken on that. But
you knew it was going to happen eventually, though.
So
I know you didn't watch the last 2 games before that, but
did he play good?
He played well, but when you have the team in front of him, they didn't play well. I mean, if you want my opinion,
They didn't
honest
play well
hockey-
last night or the last three?
My honest hockey opinion, Saturday and Monday, the team in front of him did not play well. Scrivens won them the game both times.
Oh, wow.
Last
I think
night it came to a tipping point where Scrivens wouldn't be able to keep that up. You need to play like he's your backup goaltender. He has less experience than Reimer. In my opinion, he's not as talented as Reimer. But you know what? When you have a goalie like that, you have to play well defensively and offensively in front of him.
I think 13 shots through through 2.5 periods of play is pretty good. I mean,
Last night,
yeah.
that's what I'm saying.
But isn't it funny how
he played over his head on
He gets a
Saturday.
37 save shutout on Saturday, and
He played over his head on Saturday. He played over his head on Monday. If you asked me, I would have thought Monday.
if you ask Ben Scrivens, his words were, "The last 2 games, the breaks went my way, and this game they didn't," and that's exactly what happened.
Exactly. And if you would have asked me, I would have switched the games. I would have thought Florida would beat them.
Yeah.
And Tampa Bay, they would win. But you know what? That's the way the cookie crumbles. Sometimes they played Scrivens both days. I hear Scrivens may be getting this start on Thursday.
You would
Against
think.
Buffalo.
You would think.
Is that the right move? I mean,
Yeah, I think
you
that's.
put you do. Let's
I think
think
that's
of another
why-
way. Let's put this another way. Do you put Renus in the net?
Well, I was
For,
gonna say I think that's why they took Ben Scrivens out of the net yesterday. They were
Yeah,
down
that's
4-1.
what I thought,
Let's
too.
get
When they took him
Renus.
out, I was like, yeah, I don't know.
And then
gonna change
Kessel
now.
scored, and then Kessel at the post. You don't know what would happen afterwards. But
They came close there for a bit.
They got Buffalo Thursday, Ottawa Saturday, in Ottawa, and then they're in Philly on Monday. So those will be 2 tough games, and then Montreal on the next Wednesday. So that a weekday. That's really
That'll
weird.
be an interesting game.
Yeah.
A Wednesday game. You don't hear that too often.
Quickly, no Joffrey Lupul, no Matt Fratton, Jake Gardner's in the AHL, and here they are with guys like Mark Frazier, Van
Listen,
Riemsdyk comes up on the first line, and they're
Frazier
playing well.
is second in the league in plus minus,
Yeah.
second only to Francois Beauchemin. Francois Beauchemin, I believe, from last night was plus 14. Mark Frazier, plus 13. Now, Cody Franzen, the guy who sat so many games out last season for
Plus 14, plus 13.
Ron Wilson, Cody Franzen, plus what, 11?
11.
11.
9 points.
Now, sorry, his D partner, Corbinian Holzer, is it? No, it's not Corbinian Holzer.
Well, it's usually Lyles, but Lyles is sat out.
But they said they're whoever is, I think it's Lyles. They were last night during the game. They were talking about both defensemen are a combined plus 23.
Good.
When in the last 5 years have we had defensemen with that high plus?
When Randy
minus?
Carlisle won the Stanley Cup with the Ducks in 07, his 6th defenseman was Joe DePenta. Now, who on earth is Joe DePenta? And that's what he has in Mark Frazier. Who's Mark Frazier? I did not know who Mark Frazier
He's
was. before this
reliable.
season.
That's what he is.
He's played good. And Gunnarsson came back. You have to have Gunnarsson in there, I feel. He's just a... You know what you're going to get out of him on D. They took Lyles out. When are we going to see John Michael Lyles back?
Oh, next game.
He'll be back for who, though?
I think you see Corbinian Holzer come out. He didn't have a good game last night.
I liked what Holzer's done. I think he'll get sent down. I know you mentioned maybe Jake Gardner will be in next game.
I think Jake Gardner's coming up. I think you're going to see changes because one of the reasons why the Leafs lost last night, this is again my opinion, but a lot of people agree with this point, that Randy Carlisle needs to change the lineup against Tampa. He didn't. So you're playing Colton Orr
Wouldn't you
for
want to
12
stick
minutes.
with what's working though?
But how is it working? You've scored 3 goals, and you honestly, they didn't play well, but they scored 3 goals. Those are fluke goals. They weren't talent goals.
Are you
Like,
talking
Kadri's
against Florida?
Kadri's
Are you
goal-
talking against Florida?
both teams?
Okay.
Both games. Not Tampa, but Florida and Ottawa.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, sure, okay, they won 3-0 both games.
Yeah, but that's Carlisle's system. It's to play defense,
I know, but-
not to be as offensively
This,
minded.
this is my point. You're playing Colton Orr with Nazem Kadri.
I know.
Like,
But
I shake my
you'll-
head.
You'll agree with me. I know that we both think that Colton Orr's played very well this year, but you're right. He should not be with Nazem
No,
Kadri.
you shouldn't. Did you watch the game, right?
Last night, yes.
Did you see Kadri take on Hedman?
Yeah, that was
That
funny.
was a beaut. I mean, I know they lost the game, so you're thinking negative, negative, negative. But you know what?
I
Kadri taking on Hedman, he stood up for himself because there was the cheap shot by Hedman. I mean, if you saw it, he hit him from behind. Kadri took exception to it, and he clocked him a few times. Like Hedman's not a small guy.
Oh, no, not
he
at
makes
all.
Kadri look like a little
he's
doll.
he's a tower.
And he took him out, man. He didn't take him out, but he punched him like some hard punches. And if you ask me if Kadri could do that to a big guy like that, I'd say no way. People say he's so soft. How soft is he? He's been one of the best players for the Leafs.
He's been what people have hoped he would turn into, and he's progressing
Leading
very
scorer.
well.
He's leading the
He
Leafs in
is, he
scoring.
is leading. You're absolutely right. Now from one Toronto team to another,
Yeah,
pitchers and catchers
yeah.
opened up last week in Dunedin for the Blue Jays.
Yeah, I'm gonna pound this off,
Go for it.
and I'm gonna ask you. Okay, so R.A. Dickey's been talked about.
Yes.
He's been pitching to, at least in the last few days, Brett Laurie. He's been pitching to Adam Lind.
Yep.
And
And he's given both headaches.
and what has happened, at least what the reports have been for people who have watched the practices, is that they have come away from him pitching to them shaking their heads.
Flabbergasted.
Like even John Gibbons has said that his knuckleball looks nasty.
Mid-season form, it looks like. He threw it to Brett Laurie. Laurie, it was the first one. Laurie swung and missed and said, "Are you effing kidding me?" And so
Yeah.
it's funny.
And then of course, you know, when R.A. Dickey was being interviewed afterwards, he said, "I felt so good I could have pitched another 100."
And he said he felt bad for some of the hitters because the knuckleball was so nasty. He didn't expect it to be that nasty. Very good to see.
I want a Dickey jersey now.
Anthopoulos came out and said that they would not have acquired R.A. Dickey if the Marlins deal didn't go through, that he would have held on to Darno and Syndergaard. So that's very interesting to see. Clearly, Dickey is the piece to put them over the top. And if he's pitching like we think he can, he'll be the opening day starter.
Well, he is the open day
Yeah,
starter.
no, yeah. And so,
John Gibbons has stated that.
so
But I think, I mean, if his knuckleball stays like this, and it's going to be like this for the first game,
yeah, no.
you're going to see a pretty good game from him.
I'm
as
looking
the first game.
very forward to seeing R.A. Dickey. I might be looking online to get tickets or something.
You're never going to find
they're
tickets.
sold out.
They're sold out.
Yeah, I know.
First weekend sold out.
From the Ace
Burley,
to Burley.
Mark Burley,
To
my dear friend Burley.
Jay has a lot to say to you.
I can't stand Burley's, like, what is the word I'm looking for?
Ego?
You could say ego. I would say
Persona?
bitching. I mean, no, like, he's like, well, I don't know, like, I feel like I don't want to leave my dogs with someone, and he's like a part of my family. How much is he getting paid? Like $12 million, $10 million a year?
Yeah.
To play professional baseball, and this whole issue, and really it's making me sour about him. I mean, there's not much to be sour about for this Blue Jays team, but when he said that, he came out, and it was like last week or something, and he had said that it's been really tough for us. Get a life, please. It's your dog.
His family's staying back in the States. Burley's going to be up here alone. He's going to try to fly back and forth.
Good. I hope he suffers, because you know what? I get that it's bad that his family's back there.
Yeah.
But the only reason his family's back there is because of his dumbass dog. And I'm going to tell you, don't laugh. I'm serious. You're a professional athlete. I have opinions about this. You're a professional athlete. You have a chance to win the World Series. Do not go in front of the media and tell them that this has been difficult to make this decision and blah, 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 blah.
The media is going to find out no matter what.
You're
though.
right. The media will find out, and that's when you deal with it. But he let them know. It's like when a Toronto Maple Leaf or a Toronto Raptor, they complain about their coach. When do you see that? You can't do that.
Reminds me of Antonio Davis when Davis was on the Raptors, and he openly complained about how his kids were learning Canadian schooling Canadian history, like that they should be learning
God.
American.
Just
So,
like if
you know what? It doesn't bother me as much. Maybe I'm more sentimental towards animals than you. I don't know.
listen,
He has three.
I'm an animal.
No, I
lover,
know
but
you are. I know you are.
I can't get over the fact how much he gets paid, the fact he has a chance to win a World Series, and he's still complaining about this.
I wish the province of Ontario just let it
course.
slide for him. It's not his fault he has a pit bull.
Listen, I trust me.
You know?
I agree with that. I think it's a stupid ban, and I think at least I know making exceptions for one person is not. But come on. I mean, he's an important part of the Blue Jays. He's essentially famous in Canada now, even though he's not Canadian. It doesn't matter. Make an exception for him. But from Burley's end, there's only so much he can do about it. Do not just spray it out into the media. Whether they ask you or not, you don't make it an issue, because then all of a sudden it becomes that all your teammates are on board and everything's going great, but then there's Burley with his dog.
I think it'll be a non-issue during the year. I think if
Better be.
I think maybe if he pitches poorly, then they might bring it up. Oh, is it because your family's not here? Is it the dog?
You know what
it
I've
shouldn't
heard?
be.
You know what I've heard? I've heard, again, rumor, right? Twitter, but I heard that he could be possibly traded.
Nah, you never know.
And it's not that's not it's not because of that, but because it is an issue. He Anthopoulos, I mean, he may look to trade him, to get value. I mean, think about it. Burley's a really good pitcher. I mean, do we want to trade him? No. I mean, we acquired him for a reason. But
what about the other Marlin?
Who knows?
Josh Johnson. Contract year. We've seen Felix Hernandez with $175 million.
Is Josh Johnson that good? And
no,
that young?
He's not.
No.
But what if he wins 20 games? What if he wins Cy Young? He's got the potential.
Do you think Rogers would pay for it?
I'm not saying Rogers would. This is
but
what
Rogers
I'm saying.
Would want to re-sign him, assuming they were just off the cusp of winning.
Yeah. But they're not going to be able to afford him if he has a good year. Win-win for both parties. If Josh Johnson pitches poorly this year, the Blue Jays might not be very good. They can trade him for something, or they keep him and they could maybe have a chance at re-signing him.
I think they should re-sign him.
They have a chance. That whether they do or not is up to Josh Johnson.
Johnson would be,
or if he pitches well, and that will probably mean the Blue Jays will win, but he'll price himself out of the Blue Jays payroll, and they're talking about Josh Johnson being the first pitcher to ever make $200 million in a contract, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. But
we'll see when it happens. Obviously, we're hoping he has a good year, but I also would like to see Josh Johnson with the Jays post.
He's had arm troubles, so he kind of reminds me of AJ Burnett when Burnett was he had the really good year in his last year with the Jays. Jays wanted to keep him. He went to the Yankees, and he was horrible on the Yankees. Now, shifting gears from our current ace in R.A. Dickey to our previous ace from
who
last
is now
year.
the fifth starter.
Yeah, Ricky Romero, who they're actually talking about J.A. Happ stealing his job.
Please, I hope so, because I cannot believe Romero still has problems, and it's with his knees now.
Mm-hmm. Should we be concerned?
Oh, yes, of course you should. When your pitcher goes into spring training and the first thing he tells you, I have pain in my knees, I might have to play through it. Okay, no. Okay, you're in spring training, you're supposed to be healed.
Yeah, but if it's chronic pain and it's going to be with you all year, it's going to be with you maybe for the future. I mean, what can you do about it?
Have surgery, do something about it. Like, I know that's not what you want to hear at the beginning of a season, but you know what? What are you going to do?
Do you think Ricky Romero, if he pitches poorly, whether it's because of his knees or
I don't know. I know what you're gonna. I have no idea.
Do you think he's goes to the bullpen? He's sent down, traded?
I don't know.
They keep him in the
Can
number
you
5
imagine
spot?
if they traded him, like, after putting him as the ace? Like, please.
I
don't know.
You know my stance on him. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. He was our ace last year.
He was garbage last year, though.
But he was very good the previous 3 years.
What's very good? Did he win 20 games?
No, he didn't win 20 games.
Well,
but
that's what I'm saying.
He was the ace of the staff.
Who's the ace of the staff?
Right now,
the
Dickey.
guy. No, the ace of the staff is not Dickey. The guy right now who's the ace of the staff is Brendan Morrow. And Brendan Morrow, ironically, we don't even have on this list to talk about.
You could make the point that the Blue Jays have 3 aces on their staff. So we went with Dickey, Burley, Johnson, Romero. We don't have anything wrong with Brandon Morrow. And
That's weird.
Like Justin said, Brandon Morrow is the only for sure thing.
And then watch, he'll get injured.
Yeah,
in,
and then the other
spring
4,
training.
and the other 4 will be fine.
Or they'll all get injured, and then the Jays will have a horrible season.
Doesn't that sound funny how I said Brandon Morrow's the only for sure thing in the pitching staff when we really have 5 good starters and there's teams out there that don't even have 1, and here we are worried about how they're going to pitch.
I think it's
maybe I'm being a little too judgmental. Where
I don't know if it's funny. It's good. It's
a good problem to have. Before we go, first game, spring training games on Saturday. I believe it's against the Tigers, 12:30. Are you watching?
Hopefully, I'm gonna hopefully watch it.
Yeah,
I gotta cover a tournament this weekend.
I have to do. I'll be PVRing it, but I'll be watching after. I'm curious to see. I think it's Morrow who's going to the mound.
It is Morrow.
Or Burley.
No, it's not Burley. It's Morrow.
Yeah, and then Burley's going after
Dickey
that.
is starting against Boston on Monday.
Okay.
Next Monday. So we will have the result of that game by our next show.
So we'll get our last segment in, which is our predictions. We have Leafs and Raptors.
So let's start with the Leafs. Quickly, Thursday, Buffalo. Saturday, Ottawa. We're going to do 2 games.
And then Monday, Philly. We'll do 3.
I think the Leafs will lose both games.
Sorry, which games?
They're going to lose against Buffalo on Thursday.
Really?
And they're going to lose against Ottawa.
I'm going. What
Saturday.
about Philly?
Man, I didn't want to do 3 games, but if you need an answer, I think they'll lose against Philly too. No, seriously.
No hope. No hope.
Listen, if anything was proved last night over what happened with Scrivens is that we do not have goaltending, NHL goaltending backup wise. So
now I didn't want to do this, but I'll throw it at you really quickly. The name Brian Elliott. Would you be for or against? Because clearly, Halak
for what?
To acquire.
For what though?
Oh, I don't. Maybe
I'm not giving up anything significant.
Let's just say St. Louis wants to dump him for like a 4th round pick. They just want to get the salary off the books. You say get Brian Elliott?
But what happens after? Well, you know what? Do it.
They have Allen and Halak, and
I would say do it.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind it.
You know why? Because worst case scenario, Reimer's healthy, Scrivens healthy, Elliott's healthy. Put Elliott as backup of Reimer. Put
Scrivens
back to the Marlies, so Marlies can win a few games. Like the Marlies haven't been playing well because they've been playing 3rd string goalies. McIntyre has been
Marco Wuya?
No. McIntyre has won he won the first game he's ever played on Saturday. This guy has been through 13 teams in 10 years. And the Toronto just signed him to a pro tryout contract. And anyways, he goes in Saturday. He wins the game on, what was it, Sunday or Monday? Yeah, it was Monday, sorry. Played the Houston Aeros for Family Day and lost in a shootout, but he took them to overtime and passed into the shootout where they were at the point where they weren't going to win. So my prediction...
0-3?
0-3 for the weekend. Raptors... I think they'll win. What is it? Well, who's the next 3 games?
Memphis, New York, Washington. What are you saying for Raptors? All at home.
Memphis, New York, Washington. They win against Memphis, and then they lose the next 2.
I say the Raptors win all 3.
And then they're going to lose all 3. Watch.
And I'll say...
For the Leafs?
I'll say they go 2-1. I say they beat Buffalo and Ottawa, but they lose to Philly.
All right. Well, thank you. This has been a great show.
We covered a lot.
It's been kind of long, but... We
apologize.
Yeah, we apologize. Actually, no, we don't, because we love doing it. Anyways, that was week 12. That was Blue Lunch. He's Drew. I'm Jay. Have a great day.